Okay, so interesting to hear some of these lockdown stories. Uh, and Komalji and Anjuji has actually given you a lot of inputs and insights regarding public speaking and things like that. Uh, so I'll just give you a few more inputs from my side because it was a kind of storytelling and not necessarily a public speaking. Yes, it was a combination of both primarily. Just to give you some ideas, how do you really create a story and the importance of a story in any conversation. Storytelling happens to be one of the best ways of communication, be it business, be it addressing a large group. In fact, be it talking to a friend. You know, you are always liked and desired whenever you tell somebody something in a story format. And this has been the mode of training and teaching since ages, since the Gurukul times. You know, this has been the traditional method of learning, and our DNA, you know, is strongly imbibed with this method of learning. So you learn best when it is in the format of a story. Unfortunately, I teach mathematics, so story making gets kind of difficult. But other than that, you know, if you're into humanities or management areas, or, you know, solving any business problems, this is a very, very good tool, right? To learn as well as to convey your own ideas. Some of you did confuse, you know, this competition vis-a-vis speaking and story making. You know, some of you actually shared some of your own experiences. That was, I mean, great. I mean, that's nothing to, you know, you should be proud of that. But then if you're getting into in competition, you have to be also be very careful as to what the sentence says. It says that it is a competition of storytelling. So you are expected to tell a story. Some of you did share some live events as well. You would have probably seen those on TV, or, you know, heard somewhere, and that is what you shared. Of course, we appreciate your effort, no doubt about that. But then ultimately, the winner should be one who has told a kind of story, right? So how do you really, you know, create a story? I'll just give you a small glimpse, although the competition is over, but I'm sure there are many more steps to this competition. So moving forward, eventually, if you have to be a still better storyteller, so please understand it is very logical. I mean, you don't have to really, you know, think it's a rocket science. It's pretty simple. You know, we all are used to watching movies. Just think of the movies that you like most. It's not just the action part of the movie that you like the most. Even if you are a, you know, fan of action movies, it is a story which is gripping, right? Somebody talked about a movie. Who was that movie? I just forgot the name. The person who is lost in the sea, and he spends a lot of time with the tiger. What was the name? Can somebody just tell me?
Life of Pi, sir. Life
Life
of
of Pi.
Pi.
Yes, somebody did, you know, mention this in your story, Life of Pi. So I mean, there was nothing much in that, but it was a strong story. It's a very compelling story. So what does it make? What makes a compelling story? Please understand, in any story, there is a hero and there is a heroine. So imagine yourself to be a hero and your potential to be heroine. वो जो आपसे कभी बात नहीं करती है या करता है, probably that could be your heroine. And of course, there is a villain. So the first thing you need to define in the story is the characters. I mean, rather than me telling you, okay, you must have a character, let me tell you this entire solution in a story format. So there's a hero, there's a heroine, there's a villain. So that means the first, you know, way to start your story is to find out who will be the characters of your story. And then the next thing is, if there's a hero, there's a heroine, there's a villain, they will exist, right? They may exist in a village, they may exist in your class, they may exist in your college, or they may exist in your dreams. So you have to provide a background to that, right? So when you say background to that, that is the meaning of setting. So that's this next component of storytelling. So once you have decided your characters, give them a background, give them a setting. So once you have given the setting, and then starts the plot. So what is the plot? As Komal ma'am have just said, that, you know, every pencil has a point. So every story has a point. So that's the plot. That's the key thing. So if there's a no plot, you know, the story goes nowhere. So once you have a setting, you tend to develop a plot. So how do you develop a plot? That's the question. So eventually, plot is a solution or a problem. That is a plot. So if there is a problem, you design a plot. So there could be a business problem, movies like corporate. There could be emotional issues which you are trying to address. So that is a plot. There could be a love triangle. That is a plot. So whenever there is a problem, please understand there you will have a plot. So that becomes the third most important component of your storytelling, that there has to be a plot. So plot essentially means identifying a problem. So once you identify the problem, and then towards conclusion, you need to find a solution. So the process of finding the solution is how you build the story. Right. So how do you create the story? How do you create the plot is finding the solution. So whatever steps you are taking to find a solution is part of your, is how the movie moves, how the story moves. So that is when you are deep into a storytelling. And towards end and towards conclusion, it should not end abruptly. Some of you, citing the time constraint did, end this abruptly. You can take your time, no problems. We are here to listen to your story. So it takes 2 minutes more. So that's all right. So there needs to be a conclusion. So conclusion ideally should be a happy ending. See, no matter what kind of movies you like, ultimately you look forward to a happy ending. So whenever you get a solution, you are always happy. So the solution may not be to your liking, but ultimately the story, it should end with a kind of solution. It should end with kind of, learning. It should end with some understanding of the problem. So that is the conclusion of the story. So if you're able to build a thought process in this systematic and structured fashion, it is easier for you to format a great story. Now, let us say you have formatted a great story. How do you really identify, whether the story is good or bad? See, if you are able to ensure that your audience is able to visualize whatever you are saying, that means you have won the game. That's it. That's the best story. So whatever you are speaking, your audience should be able to visualize it simultaneously along the way you are speaking. So that is a good story. For example, one of those students, I think he came in third or fourth, he talked about getting a puppy, whereby he wanted to pay the price in full, and the reason for why he wanted to have that puppy, because he himself was handicapped, and probably the puppy was also handicapped. So there's an emotional connect, and probably that is why I'm remembering this story. Otherwise I would have, there are about 20, 25, 30 stories. Now if you talk to all the panelists, including you yourself as a student, you will only remember few stories. Why? And which kind of stories do you remember? The stories with a strong emotional connect. So that is what you need to search within a story. And I hope you enjoyed as much as we enjoyed listening to your stories, right? And of course, passion is very, very important. The more passionate you are about telling a story, the greater is the connect with your audience. So passion is something very, very important. So it could be very mundane joke, I mean, which does not evoke any laughter, but the way you present something can change the entire essence of the content. So passion is really something which you need to put across. If you're weak on content, no problems, just put in the entire passion and happiness into that movie or the story. It will certainly come out good, right? So